So you'll know the naughty speech sound frog is much loved by the children because he messes about with the text. So what we've got here in the I Can Read Without You Lessons app, we've got that he's messed about with the text. So this is a book that they've read. This was lesson 76 in phase 2. So they've got to go through it and actually have a look at the phoneme to grapheme mapping, or grapheme to phoneme mapping. Roger, Ed read bat. Roger read bat. Here is Billy, Ed read cat. Here is Billy read cat. So they've still got to read it, but this is more sort of really promoting GSF. So we're actually having a look at, it's not just decoding, it's semantics and what have you. So it goes through the whole book, and they've got to do the normal, checking the code mapping, but you're checking as well that they are actually not just decoding, that they're actually using their brains, their reading brains. They're actually figuring out what's wrong here, but they've also got to put it right. So when you've got it on the board and they're reading, here is Roger's cat, Roger's hat is blue, so they've code mapped it and worked it out. Then on their whiteboard, they've got to write the correct sentence. Now, even if they haven't got the book in front of, well, don't have the book in front of them, they've already read the book, but it doesn't make sense anyway, does it? So even if they had never read Roger Red Hat before, they're going to be able to use the clue here, the red hat, and the text and put it together and see, does it make sense? Think about the meaning of the words. So a lot of these words are real words, but thinking about the meaning of the word. So then on their whiteboard, they would write, here is Roger's hat. Roger's hat is red, etc. So it goes through the whole book. So Pip is Roger's cat. Now on this one, they have to use so it's sort of GSF. So here, supposing they hadn't read the book before and they thought, well, Pip could be Roger's dog. Let's see who recalls the book to see that actually in the book, what is Roger's name? Roger's dog's name. So hopefully they will recall from when they read it. Rip is Roger's dog. So it's not just the fact that, so here, it's not just the fact that it's a dog, not a cat, which they can deduce from here. Hopefully they remembered that it's Rip. So then they've got to do some phoneme manipulation and change Pip into Rip. So it just goes through the book. Mrs. Yellow Hat. Hair is Mrs. Yellow Hat. So they've got to change it. So again, even just on the picture, they would be able to deduce that is not Mrs. And of course, as you know from the lessons, Mrs. is in red because it's an abbreviation, even though the children will still be able to duck hand. Is Mrs. or ist Mr, etc. So it's a nice little activity that I'm going through all of the introductory 16 books, and you just put it up on the whiteboard and say to them, read it, follow the sounds to say the word, the other, ed, red, hat, mouse. Excuse me, is it a red hat's mouse? No, it's a red hat's house. And then again, you've got, what can you hear? What's the difference? For, it's phonemic awareness, as well as the phonics, as well as the meaning. So we're putting it all together, I say, because these books are used to bridge the gap between your decodable readers and your authentic texts.
There are over 100 of these Village with Three Corners, 1, 2, 3 and away books in the app for the children to read. And I also go through a lot of them in the lessons, and we are code mapping them all so that it helps to promote their orthographic learning. So the I Can Read Without Your Lessons app, there are currently 2, because the top one is for parents, people that have 1 or 2 devices, and that's what you will get if you do the parents as partners option. Have a look at speechsoundpics.com. $2 per student per year. And that's because the school is paying it, not the parents. If parents pay for this app on their own, it's $5.50 a month, known time limit, but it's got over 200 step-by-step lessons to teach your child to read with books, the code mapping tool, etc. And the multi-user one is used in school, so that's either up to 30 devices for $95 a year or $195 a year for unlimited, so that's as many devices in school as you like, and it will include new training modules over the summer holidays. Now, if you have an existing SSP for Schools app by Teacherless Teaching Australia, we will give you access for your school to the I Can Read Without You Lessons for Multi-Users app for free for the remainder of your subscription. Just email support@speechsoundpics.com. And of course, also make sure you've got the SSP Spelling Piano app for tablets. So that's iPads or Android, so in the App Store or Google Play. But if schools use your App School Manager, it's 50% off when you order 20 or more.
Can you find me Roger Ed at Roger Red Hat? Can you find me Roger Red Hat? So they find Roger Red Hat. Or, who's this? Oh, it's Billy. Who's this? And they're going to go
B-I-O-E.
Who's this?
J-E-N-E.
And they'll often say, oh no, well, they won't say it because if they're non-verbal, but they might want to play it as Jennifer. They might want to play it as Jennifer, because when they're segmenting, they tend to overpronounce and they want to use instead of.